Nehemias, chapters 9 through 11. Now on the 24th day of this month, the children of Israel assembled with fasting, and sackcloth, and with ashes on their head. And the children of Israel separated themselves from every stranger, and stood and confessed their sins and the iniquities of their fathers. And they stood in their place, and read in the book of the law of the Lord their God, and they confessed their sins to the Lord, and worshipped the Lord their God. And there stood upon the stairs of the Levites Jesus, and the sons of Kadmiel, Shechaniah, the son of Sarabiah, the sons of Conani, and they cried with a loud voice to the Lord their God. And the Levites, Jesus and Kadmiel, said, Rise up, bless the Lord our God forever and ever, and let them bless thy glorious name, and exalt it with all blessing and praise. And Esdras said, Thou art the only true Lord, thou madest the heaven and the heaven of heavens, and all their array, the earth, and all things that are in it, the seas, and all things in them. And thou quickenest all things, and the hosts of heaven worship thee. Thou art the Lord God, thou didst choose Abraham, and broughtest him out of the land of the Chaldeans, and gavest him the name Abraham. And thou foundest his heart faithful before thee, and didst make a covenant with him, to give to him and to his seed the land of the Canaanites, and the Kettites, and the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Jebusites, and the Girgashites, and thou hast confirmed thy words, for thou art righteous. And thou sawest the affliction of our fathers in Egypt, and thou heardest their cry at the Red Sea. And thou showedest signs and wonders in Egypt, on Pharaoh and all his servants, and on all the people of his land. For thou knowest that they behaved insolently against them, and thou madest thyself a name as at this day. And thou didst cleave the sea before them, and they passed through the midst of the sea on dry land. And thou didst cast into the deep them that were about to pursue them, as a stone in the mighty water. And thou guidest them by day a pillar of cloud, and by night by a pillar of fire, to enlighten for them the way wherein they should walk. And thou camest down upon Mount Sinai, and thou spakest to them out of heaven, and gavest them right judgments, and laws of truth, ordinances, and good commandments. And thou didst make known to them thy holy Sabbath. Thou didst enjoin upon them commandments, and ordinances, and a law, by the hand of thy servant Moses. And thou gavest them bread from heaven for their food, and thou broughtest them forth water from a rock for their thirst. And thou badest them to go in to inherit the land, over which thou stretchedst out thy hand to give it to them. But they and our fathers behaved proudly, and hardened their neck, and did not hearken to thy commandments, and refused to listen, and remembered not thy wonders which thou wrougest with them. And they hardened their neck, and appointed a leader to return to their slavery in Egypt. But thou, O God, art merciful and compassionate, long-suffering and abundant in mercy, and thou didst not forsake them. And still farther, they even made to themselves a molten calf, and said, These are the gods that brought us out of Egypt, and they wrought great provocations. Yet thou, in thy great compassions, didst not forsake them in the wilderness. Thou didst not turn away from them the pillar of the cloud by day, to guide them in the way, nor the pillar of fire by night, to enlighten for them the way wherein they should walk. And thou gavest thy good spirit to instruct them, and thou didst not withhold thy manna from their mouth, and gavest them water in their thirst. And thou didst sustain them 40 years in the wilderness. Thou didst not allow anything to fail them. Their garments did not wax old, and their feet were not bruised. Moreover, thou gavest them kingdoms, and didst divide nations to them. And they inherited the land of Sihon, king of Esbon, and the land of Og, king of Bashan. And thou didst multiply their children as the stars of heaven, and broughtest them into the land, of which thou spokest to their fathers. And they inherited it, and thou didst destroy from before them the dwellers in the land of the Canaanites. And thou gavest into their hands them and their kings, and the nations of the land, to do unto them as it pleased them. And they took lofty cities, and inherited houses full of all good things, wells dug, vineyards, and olive yards, and every fruit tree in abundance. So they ate and were filled, and grew fat, and rioted in thy great goodness. But they turned and revolted from thee, and cast thy law behind their backs. And they slew thy prophets, who testified against them, to turn them back to thee, and they wrought great provocations. Then thou gavest them into the hand of them that afflicted them, and they did afflict them. And they cried to thee in the time of their affliction, and thou didst hear them from thy heaven, and in thy great compassions gavest them deliverers, and didst save them from the hand of them that afflicted them. But when they rested, they did evil again before thee. So thou leftest them in the hands of their enemies, and they ruled over them. And they cried again to thee, and thou heardest them from the heaven, and didst deliver them in thy great compassions. And thou didst testify against them, to bring them back to thy law. But they hearkened not, but sinned against thy commandments and thy judgments, which if a man do, he shall live in them. And they turned their back, and hardened their neck, and heard not. Yet thou didst bear long with them many years, and didst testify to them by thy Spirit, by the hand of thy prophets. But they hearkened not, so thou gavest them into the hand of the nations of the land. But thou, in thy many mercies, didst not appoint them to destruction, and didst not forsake them, for thou art strong, and merciful, and pitiful. And now, O our God, the powerful, the great, the mighty, and the terrible, keep in thy covenant and thy mercy. Let not all the trouble seem little in thy sight, which has come upon us, and our kings, and our princes, and our priests, and our prophets, and our fathers, and upon all thy people from the days of the kings of Assur, even to this day. But thou art righteous in all things that come upon us, for thou hast wrought faithfully, but we have greatly sinned. And our kings, and our princes, and our priests, and our fathers have not performed thy law, and have not given heed to thy commandments, and have not kept thy testimonies which thou didst testify to them. And they did not serve thee in thy kingdom, in thy great goodness which thou gavest to them, and in the large and fat land which thou didst furnish before them, and they turned not from their evil devices. Behold, we are servants this day, and as for the land which thou gavest to our fathers, to eat the fruit of it, and the good things of it, behold, we are servants upon it. And its produce is abundant for the kings whom thou didst appoint over us because of our sins. And they have dominion over our bodies, and over our cattle, as it pleases them, and we are in great affliction. In regard to all these circumstances, we make a covenant and write it, and our princes, our Levites, and our priests set their seal to it. And over them that sealed were Nehemias the Artasasta, the son of Achaliah, and Zedekias, the son of Uriah, and Azariah, and Jeremiah, Basar, Amariah, Melchiah, Attis, Sebani, Maluk, Iram, Meremoth, Abdiah, Daniel, Ganathan, Baruch, Mesullam, Abiah, Mayamin, Maaziah, Belgai, Semaiah. These were priests. And the Levites, Jesus the son of Azaniah, Beneu the sons of Enadad, Kadmiel and his brethren, Sabaniah, Oduiah, Calatan, Phaliah, Anan, Micah, Roob, Asabias, Zachor, Sarabia, Sebaniah, Odom, the sons of Banui. The heads of the people, Phoros, Phaeth, Moab, Elam, Zethuthiah. The sons of Bani, Azgad, Bebe, Adoniah, Bagoi, Hedin, Acher, Ezekiah, Azer, Oduiah, Esam, Besai, Areph, Anathoth, Nobe, Megaphys, Mesullam, Ezir, Mesozebel, Zadok, Jedua, Pasha, Enan, Aniah, Osi, Ananiah, Asab, Alois, Phalai, Sobek, Reum, Esabana, Maasiah, and Aiah, Enan, Enam, Maluk, Aram, Baana. And the rest of the people, the priests, the Levites, the porters, the singers, the Nethinim, and everyone who drew off from the nations of the land to the law of God, their wives, their sons, their daughters, every one who had knowledge and understanding, were urgent with their brethren, and bound them under a curse, and entered into a curse, and into an oath, to walk in the law of God, which is given by the hand of Moses, the servant of God, to keep and to do all the commandments of the Lord, and his judgments and his ordinances. That we will not, they said, give our daughters to the people of the land, nor will we take their daughters to our sons. And as for the people of the land, who bring wares and all manner of merchandise to sell on the Sabbath day, we will not buy of them on the Sabbath or on the holy day. And we will leave the 7th year at the exaction of every debt. And we will impose ordinances upon ourselves, to levy on ourselves the 3rd part of the didrachum yearly for the service of the house of our God, the showbread and the continual meat offering, and for the continual whole burnt offering of the Sabbaths, of the new moon, for the feasts, and for the holy things, and the sin offerings, to make atonement for Israel, and for the works of the house of our God. And we cast lots for the office of wood-bearing, we the priests, and the Levites, and the people, to bring wood into the house of our God, according to the house of our families, at certain set times, year by year, to burn on the altar of the Lord our God, as it is written in the law, and to bring the first fruits of our land, and the first fruits of the fruit of every tree, year by year, into the house of the Lord. The firstborn of our sons, and of our cattle, as it is written in the law, and the firstborn of our herds and of our flocks, to bring to the house of our God, for the priests that minister in the house of our God. And the first fruits of our corn, and the fruit of every tree, of wine, and of oil, we will bring to the priests to the treasury of the house of God. And a tithe of our land to the Levites, for the Levites themselves shall receive tithes in all the cities of the land we cultivate. And the priest, the son of Aaron, shall be with the Levites in the tithe of the Levite. And the Levites shall bring up the 10th part of their tithe to the house of our God, into the treasuries of the house of God. For the children of Israel and the children of Levi shall bring into the treasuries the first fruits of the corn, and wine, and oil. And there are the holy vessels, and the priests, and the ministers, and the porters, and the singers. And we will not forsake the house of our God. And the chiefs of the people dwelt in Jerusalem, and the rest of the people cast lots, to bring 1 of every 10 to dwell in Jerusalem the holy city, and 9 parts in the other cities. And the people blessed all the men that volunteered to dwell in Jerusalem. Now these are the chiefs of the province who dwelt in Jerusalem and in the cities of Judah. Every man dwelt in his possession in their cities: Israel, the priests, and the Levites, and the Nethinim, and the children of the servants of Solomon. And there dwelt in Jerusalem some of the children of Judah, and of the children of Benjamin, of the children of Judah, Athaiah, the son of Aziah, the son of Zechariah, the son of Samaria, the son of Saphatia, the son of Malaliel, and some of the sons of Pharez, and Maaseiah, son of Baruch, son of Kalasa, son of Uzziah, son of Adaiah, son of Joarib, son of Zacharias, son of Selani. All the sons of Pharez who dwelt in Jerusalem were 468 men of might. And these were the children of Benjamin: Selot, the son of Mesullam, son of Joad, son of Phadeah, son of Goliah, son of Maaseias, son of Ethiel, son of Jesiah, and after him Gebi, Zelai, 928. And Joel, son of Zechari, was overseer over them, and Judah, son of Asana, was second in the city. Of the priests, both Jediah, son of Joarib, and Jachin, Seraiah, son of Elkiah, son of Mesullam, son of Sadok, son of Meraioth, son of Ethoth, was over the house of God. And their brethren doing the work of the house were 822. And Adaiah, son of Jeroam, son of Phalaliah, son of Amasai, son of Zechariah, son of Phaser, son of Elkiah, and his brethren, chiefs of families, 242. And Amasiah, son of Esdriel, son of Meserimath, son of Emer, and his brethren, mighty men of war, 128. And their overseer was Badiel, son of one of the great men. And of the Levites, Semaiah, son of Ezrikam, Mathanias, son of Micah, and Joab, son of Samui, 284. And the porters, Akub, Teleman, and their brethren, 172. And the overseer of the Levites was the son of Bani, son of Ozai, son of Asabiah, the son of Micah. Of the sons of Asaph, the singers, some were over the house of God, for so was the king's commandment concerning them. And Phathaiah, son of Basezah, was in attendance on the king in every matter for the people, and with regard to villages in their country district. And some of the children of Judah dwelt in Kiriath-Arbach, and in Jesu, and in Beersabi, and their villagers were Lachish in her lands, and they pitched their tents in Beersabi. And the children of Benjamin dwelt from Gibeah to Machmas. And of the Levites there were divisions to Judah and to Benjamin. Psalm 143, 144 in Hebrew. A psalm of David concerning Goliad. Blessed be the Lord my God, who instructs my hands for battle, and my fingers for war. My mercy and my refuge, my helper and my deliverer, my protector in whom I have trusted, who subdues my people under me. Lord, what is man, that thou art made known to him? Or the son of man, that thou takest account of him? Man is like to vanity, his days pass as a shadow. O Lord, bow thy heavens, and come down. Touch the mountains, and they shall smoke. Send lightning, and thou shalt scatter them. Send forth thine arrows, and thou shalt discomfit him. Send forth thine hand from on high. Rescue me, and deliver me out of great waters, out of the hand of strange children, whose mouth has spoken vanity, and their right hand is the right hand of iniquity. O God, I will sing a new song to thee. I will play to thee on psaltery of 10 strings. Even to him who gives salvation to kings, who redeems his servant David from the hurtful sword. Deliver me, and rescue me from the hand of strange children, whose mouth has spoken vanity, and their right hand is the right hand of iniquity, whose children are as plants, strengthened in their youth. Their daughters are beautiful, sumptuously adorned after the similitude of a temple. Their garners are full, and bursting with one kind of store after another. Their sheep are prolific, multiplying their streets. Their oxen are fat. There is no falling down of a hedge, nor going out, nor cry in their folds. Men bless the people to whom this lot belongs, but blessed is the people whose God is the Lord. Proverbs chapter 29, verses 7 through 12. A righteous man knows how to judge for the poor, but the ungodly understands not knowledge, and the poor man has not an understanding mind. Lawless men burn down a city, but wise men turn away wrath. A wise man shall judge nations, but a worthless man, being angry, laughs and fears not. Bloody men hate a holy person, but the upright will seek his soul. A fool utters all his mind, but the wise reserves his in part. When a king hearkens to unjust language, all his subjects are transgressors. The Acts of the Apostles, chapter 7, verses 1 through 21. Then said the high priest, Are these things so? And he said, Men, brethren, and fathers, hearken. The God of glory appeared unto our father Abraham when he was in Mesopotamia, before he dwelt in Charan, and said unto him, Get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and come into the land which I shall show thee. Then came he out of the land of the Chaldeans, and dwelt in Charan. And from thence, when his father was dead, he removed him into this land, wherein ye now dwell. And he gave him none inheritance in it, no, not so much as to set his foot on. Yet he promised that he would give it to him for possession, and to his seed after him, when as yet he had no child. And God spake on this wise, that his seed should sojourn in a strange land, that they should bring them into bondage, and entreat them evil 400 years. And the nation to whom they shall be in bondage will I judge, said God. And after that they shall come forth, and serve me in this place. And he gave him the covenant of circumcision. And so Abraham begat Isaac, and circumcised him the 8th day. And Isaac begat Jacob, and Jacob begat the 12 patriarchs. And the patriarchs, moved with envy, sold Joseph into Egypt. But God was with him, and delivered him out of all his afflictions, and gave him favor and wisdom in the sight of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. And he made him governor over Egypt and all his house. Now there came a dearth over all the land of Egypt and Canaan, and great affliction, and our fathers found no sustenance. But when Jacob heard that there was corn in Egypt, he sent out our fathers first. And at the second time Joseph was made known to his brethren, and Joseph's kindred was made known unto Pharaoh. Then sent Joseph and called his father Jacob to him, and all his kindred, 60 souls. So Jacob went down into Egypt and died, he and our fathers, and were carried over into Sychem, and laid in the sepulchre that Abraham brought for a sum of money from the sons of Emor, the father of Sychem. When the time of the promise drew nigh, which God had sworn to Abraham, the people grew and multiplied in Egypt, till another king arose, which knew not Joseph. The same dealt subtly with our kindred, and evil entreated our fathers, so that they cast out their young children, to the end they might not live. In which time Moses was born, and was exceeding fair, and nourished up in his father's house 3 months. And when he was cast out, Pharaoh's daughter took him up, and nourished him for her own son.